Hey everyone, it's Robin, RS Island Crafts, and welcome to my studio. This is my Whip It Wednesday video where I'm going to show you the crafty goodness that I've been working on this week. Since we are working 1 month advance in my Patreon group, this is the November block for the block of the month that we're doing this year. This is supposed to be a log cabin. I had a little fun with it. Little Minecraft fabric style up top, the Hello Kitty for the door. Now I made this because this is what's in the pattern, but I think I'm going to switch this out and put in something more for November or Thanksgiving. Someone had suggested a nice autumn leaf in there, or maybe I was thinking a set of 4 small ones. One big one would make it less complicated, so that's probably what I'm going to do, or even just bring some fall fabric in and put a star in there or something. I'm really not thrilled with this in general. It just kind of looks like a hut to me, not much of a log cabin. I chose nice brown fabric for the logs, so it has that look, but I'm just not feeling it for my block. Florida doesn't have many log cabins, and they really don't have any in my area. But that one's done. I love the way it turned out. It's still a great block. It looks nice. The purple is sweet and everything with it. But now that's done. So 1 more month and we will be finished with the quilt. If you're in my Patreon group, head on over because I put up a poll for choosing next year's block of the month. I gave you a few options and it looks like we might be able to get 2 of them accomplished next year based on the ones that I chose and the ones that are popular. But this one will be done, and this one, once it's finished, the last block is done, it's going to go on hold a little bit because I need to get the sashing and of course backing and batting and all of that stuff, make the different November block, and then put it together. So I'm feeling like this is definitely going to be an Arizona project and not a Florida one. So I just have all of my blocks tucked away neatly. I keep everyone stored nice and neat in one of these scrapbooking tubs, and that allows me to keep all of my fabrics too. So now I have a lot of the fat quarter fabrics left over, and I still have a decent amount of the white fabric in the back tucked away somewhere in there. So there goes November's, and once December's in there, I'll just go ahead and pack it away and it will be a future project. This has been a lot of fun though. I really enjoyed doing a block of the month, so if you guys would like to do a block of the month here on YouTube, we can always work on it during live streams so it doesn't interrupt with the Friday tutorials or anything like that. So I would love to do one with you guys too. I think it would be a lot of fun. I finished another scrubby dishcloth. This is made from the yarn that has the regular cotton and the scrubby all mixed together. I think this is the last regular dishcloth like this, and the rest of them are just leftover balls, so I might make some scrappy ones. So I've been collecting these, and once I get them all nice and straight and blocked, they will be going into the shop. Here's my little dishcloth bag. So at least right here, these are the 2 that are left over, a Christmas one and a purple one. They really don't go together, so I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with those yet, but we'll see. I did have a request for some teddy bear ones. These are actually round like the teddy bear face with the ears, and then you embroider the teddy bear face on it. Those are crocheted. Crocheting in a circle is a lot easier than knitting in a circle. So now I've finished that one and they're off the needles. I'm going to go ahead and start on this. I had to actually buy a hook because I put my crochet hooks away. I put them into storage because I had thought that I wouldn't be doing any type of crochet at all, but I forgot about my dishcloth. So I picked up a hook for this, and then I picked up a hook so when I take the regular dishcloth yarn that I have in a tub that I brought here, I'll go ahead and I'll crochet them now instead of knitting and see if I can get a few more done so that they can go in the shop in plenty of time for Christmas. This was my first attempt at an open wide pouch. I definitely struggled with some parts of it. I made this probably 5 or 6 years ago. Pouch itself, the panel here is a Missouri Star Crafty Gemini project, and then I just turned one into the tote bag like they said in the video, and I had a second one, and I went ahead and I tried the open wide zipper pouch. I'm not sure I really am a fan of this. Yes, it does open up wide. Of course, you can open up this much wider and stuff. But for me, I'm fine with I would just make a little bit wider zipper pouch, you know, so that I'd have plenty of room to get into it. But it was a fun thing to go ahead and try out. The other thing I tried out is the extra large Stripology ruler from Creative Grids. Thank you to those of you that sent a little donation to help me purchase it, and to those of you that purchased things from my Etsy shop. That's how I was able to get this. And I played with it a little bit. I am not a master of it yet, and all I've done so far is cut some strips. I'll show you those in a minute. I still need to learn how to trim up the squares. I watched the videos, so it's more of a I need to do it hands-on, how to trim up squares using this, and also how to cut triangles, and I think they do trapezoids or something. So it's more than just cutting strips. My main purpose for purchasing this, that was a mouthful, was so that I could quickly and easily cut up yardage of fabric into scrap strips for scrap bundles for the Etsy shop, because I was taking more time cutting them up and sorting them and mixing them all up than I needed to. More wear and tear on my body and more time spent, because you're going through and cutting all that. It does tend to get painful for me for the shoulders, since I've had multiple shoulder surgeries, so that I have to really be cautious of that. So while I'm still cutting through things, this is more, I don't know, it makes a difference. It didn't bother my shoulder like normally cutting up fabrics would. Maybe I hold my body a different way when using this. I have had a request to show how to use this, and I don't know if I'm going to do a full-blown tutorial, but I will probably pull it out at some point during a live stream once I play with it a little bit. Right now I can't say, hey, we're going to do it, but if you want to see a little quick version of it, I can bring it out during a live stream, lay it down on some fabric, and cut the fabric. But to have a standalone tutorial, I don't have the knowledge base and the use of experience type thing to be able to give you any tips and tricks other than, here, do this, and there you go. And I can only cut straight lines right now, so a little bit of time. I'll bring it out sometime either in this Friday's live stream, which is October 6th, or October 20th. During the live stream, just remind me and I'll pull it out, grab some yardage, and just show you how to do it. I have decided that 100% I would like to also purchase the smaller version. I think it might only be like 12.5 inches wide, but that would be really useful for cutting up smaller scraps. I like to keep a lot of 1.5 inch strips because I use them a lot in my sewing and crafting. So for that smaller version, I could easily lay down a fat quarter or just a scrap of fabric and do it. Now this was perfect for yardage, but I did have some random scraps. So I have this whole big ruler, and then just trying to put the scraps under small parts of it. Now I could put scraps in various parts and this would work, but if I only want to do a small piece of fabric, then the smaller ruler would be very useful. And since I was ordering rulers, I did go ahead and order the 20.5 inch square ruler. I only needed that one commenter to say, yes, Robin, I use mine all the time. It's a great tool, grab it. I knew I would, but I just wanted someone to tell me, yes, they use theirs. So I did pick this up since they were both going to be shipped. I figured ship them both together and maybe they'll be safer together, but no, Amazon shipped one on, let's just say, a Friday, and the next one came like on a Saturday. So they did ship separately, but thankfully they both arrived safe and sound. I have used this once, and I will show you in a few minutes the project that I worked on to use this one. But first, let me show you what I used the Stripology ruler for. I think I brought over 6 boxes of fabric, small boxes. I think they're like 12 by 12 boxes from storage. One of them didn't need to come because it's all my personal fabric that has like the batiks and stuff like that I wasn't going to cut up into scraps for you guys. But I did pull the Halloween and the Christmas box. This one is the Halloween. You can see I have each of them into little piles here. So I have 6 bundles right now, and they are just under 6 ounces. So I need to bump these up to 8 ounces so that I can go ahead and put them in the shop by the 8 ounce increments. So I'll have 6 of them available. And I had a lot of fun. I spent one of my days, it was like a rainy day, and I did something in the morning, and I just played with this in the afternoon, cutting up the different scraps. As I mentioned, some of them were smaller pieces, so that took me a little bit longer, but to lay out a piece of fabric and just go like this, it was really quick and easy. I did cut these in various widths. Because the scraps and the yardage were all different sizes, there were some that weren't full width of fabrics or full yards this way, so I decided I cut them 1.5 inches wide, 2 inches, 2.5, and some of them I cut 3 because this fabric was just too fun to cut it down narrow. I just wanted to let anyone who was going to play with the scraps have a little bit more fun. There wasn't enough of that to make it like 5 inches or 4.5 or anything like that to get big usage out of it. I was trying to get it so that everyone would have about the same in all of the bundles, and I did save, don't worry, I did save a good chunk of that for myself, just enough to make a pouch or something like that, because I love scarecrows and I love pumpkins, and that just reminds me of a pumpkin scarecrow because it's laying on all the hay. So there are a variety, and each bundle has the same fabrics in it, so sometimes you will get just one width of fabric and other times you'll get 2. So if you're looking for unique fabric that each bundle will have only one of each fabric, and that you can make something like a postage stamp quilt or something like that, that's not going to work for these. So they do have some doubles of each thing. So there are a variety of fabrics in here, and I consider this Halloween. It's got the midnight moon, you know, midnight dark sky with the gold sparkles on it. So there are a few of these. Now these aren't with the fabric, I don't think. I think these are actually half. And then there's just, as you can see, there's just some random bits that are not as long. So when these go into the shop, if you want to purchase more than one, if you want to have 1 pound, you would need to purchase 2 of them. But just know that each one is about the same fabrics, about the same amounts, so you will definitely be getting duplicates. Now, if you purchased a scrap Halloween bundle from me before, when I had them up a month or 2 ago, there will possibly be some fabrics that'll duplicate, but those scrap bundles were more like crumb packs, where these are more like strip set scrap bundles. Once I get these all finished, I will post it in the community tab so you guys know here on YouTube, so that you know that they're in the shop, or you can just favorite my Etsy store and Etsy will let you know when my shop puts in new items. So once these are all set and in the shop, then I'll pull out this Christmas fabrics, and I have a little better idea of how to cut them and stuff. So those again will be based on the fabric, so there could be different lengths, different widths and stuff. But once I get into the standard scraps, I have brought fabric that you guys haven't seen and that definitely weren't in any of the scrap bundles previously, as far as I know. Not 100% guarantee, but I'm about 98.5% sure. Then I will be cutting those a little bit differently. I will probably cut the fabric the width of the Stripology ruler, and then I will just determine how many bundles I'm going to get out of that width. So I believe it is, I think they said it's 22 inches, but there's slots from 0 to 20. So I'll figure all that out so that you can, because you can always use the edge of the ruler to cut them too. You don't have to go just in the slots. So I'll make sure that I have enough, and then I'll list them by those number of bundles. And those again will probably be by the pound at that point. All right, enough scrap talking. Let's see the last project. Before I show you this project, I'm just going to show you this empty bin. This bin contained all of the fabric that I've purchased since I've been here at the kids' house. And instead of having my relaxed Sunday where I just like to sew and have fun and work on whatever, I decided that it would, before we get into the crazy holiday season and the possible move, that I would take all of that fabric and enter it into my spreadsheets for my Etsy shop, for my business, I should say, so that when it comes time to do inventory at the end of the year, I won't have to list like 36 fabrics and everything like that. So I took Sunday, since it was October 1st, I did all of my books for the month of September. All of my paperwork and stuff is done. And I just have to, I don't have to anything. I'm all set. I just have to wait. I was going to say, because I've been moving this fabric around. It's been sitting on the corner of my desk here, and then I move it when I'm sewing and move it back. It just needed to get entered so that I can then put it on the shelf with the rest of the fabrics. So that is all set. I don't have that worry anymore. And now I can do something with this container. I start my mornings out by wiping this table down with like a Clorox wipe and making sure all the hair and the dust and the fuzzies are gone, because I don't want to have that around when I'm sewing. So I like to start with a nice clean surface. If you've been with me for a while, you know, like when I do the live streams and I get fabric everywhere, it just drives me crazy. Mostly because I've had issues in the past where you go to cut a piece of fabric and oops, there's another piece of fabric underneath it that you cut by accident. So it's nice to have everything nice and tidy. All right, let's go ahead and look at the Halloween tote and see how far I've gotten. So I have both panels done, both outer panels are all quilted. I chose to use orange fabric and go with the crosshatch again. I thought that was really nice. Robbie and I I was showing him how to lay the spool, the thread out to see how it'll actually look on there. He wanted to take the spool and go like this. That was his choice of figuring it out. But I tried to explain to him that it usually looks darker on the spool. So if you take some thread off and you do that, then it's okay. Because a lot of times a non-sewer doesn't realize that once a thread comes off the spool, it's not bad. You can just wind it back up and you're good to go. So it's not a problem to go like this a few times. But I knew I wanted the orange, and he agreed that the orange was the best option, and there's always thread stuck on here. So those are the fun fabrics. I still need to make the handles. I'm not sure what color I'm going to do in those, but I did decide for the lining, so the welt pocket is just this white checkerboard, white on white fabric. I thought that I couldn't figure out what was going to look nice with the orange, so I went ahead with the white. So I have my welt pocket not completely finished. I still have to bring this up and sew it so it's a complete pocket. It was getting to be the end of the day, and we had a big storm come through with a lot of thunder and lightning and stuff. So at that point I turned my machine off and just finished for the day. It was close enough to my 4 o'clock quitting time anyway. So here's the other one, and this time I decided to go with a nice lime green zipper. So that would go against the orange. These are actually Justin's favorite colors, orange and a bright lime green. So that would give that a nice contrast, and it still has the white on white checkerboard, and here is the other side of the pocket. Now these pockets are too big. My pockets, I generally just cut them one size. I try to think ahead and figure out what size each one needs, but this time I forgot. I wasn't paying attention and thinking I was measuring from here to about here, forgetting that the pocket is set down a few inches. So that's okay. I will just go ahead and trim off even here, and that'll give a pocket that's nice and deep that goes all the way to the bottom of the tote bag. So I thought I was going to have this done by the time we talked again, but that's okay. I'll now get it done this week. Now, as I mentioned, this Friday is going to be a live stream at 3 p.m. Eastern. October 6th, it's a third quarter moon according to my calendar, nothing else exciting. Monday is Thanksgiving for the Canadians. It's Columbus Day here and Thanksgiving Day in Canada. So I'm going to wish you guys a happy Thanksgiving just in case I forget during the live stream. I hope everyone has a great weekend. But during the live stream, I thought we would go ahead and do a little scrappy project. And with it being October, between Halloween and autumn and stuff, we are going to make scrappy pumpkin coasters. I don't have a sample for you guys. I was going to make it, but yesterday, which was Sunday, took all day doing the inventory, the fabrics and such, because you have to list all the fabrics in the spreadsheet. Then you have to put down when you bought them, how much you paid for them. I inventory by the square inch, so I have to figure out, is this a yard of fabric, a yard and a half, and then put down the square footage. And then of course the spreadsheet's great. It's from Paper and Spark, and it just go ahead and configures, collates. It's spreadsheets magic, the math, and it just does everything all along the line for me. But I did need to go through individually. First I listed all the fabrics, then I went through and figured out the yardage. That worked out really well for me. Anyway, I didn't get to do it, so I'm going to hopefully work on it once this video is edited and uploaded, so either on Monday or Tuesday. And then that way, check the community tab on Wednesday and see if I've put up a sample of what we're going to make. But your supplies are going to be simple. You need some pumpkin fabric, whether it be orange, white, teal, purple, whatever color you want your pumpkin to be. You can have one solid fabric, or you can have a bunch of scraps. Then you need to go online. You're either going to be drawing a pumpkin shape, or just go online and find a pumpkin shape that you like. I usually search for pumpkin coloring pages, pumpkin outlines and stuff like that. And you want to make it whatever size you want. I'm going to go for coaster size, so I'm going to look for about a 5-inch pumpkin. If I find one, I will go ahead and put the link to that in the community tab. And then also you need some batting. I like to use cotton batting, and then some type of backing. Now I'm going to put a stem on my pumpkin, so I will also have some green fabric. And then of course whatever thread you're going to use. If you want to use orange or whatever, I'm going to do a quilt as you go method, but you can simply again use just one piece of fabric. And your pumpkins can be wild and crazy. If you want to have bats for your pumpkins, or you can have white skeletons, you can go ahead and, I was going to say spiders, but those almost look like ticks. Ticks and spiders and fabric tend to look very similar. This would be a fun one for a pumpkin if you just want one fabric. I'm going to do a combination. I want to do a solid one, and I also want to bring out my orange scraps and just have a little bit of fun. So your scrappy word today is Canada. Are you from Canada? Have you ever been to Canada? Do you have friends or relatives in Canada? Now, I know some YouTubers that are in Canada, some Instagram people in Canada. I've never been to Canada. I think my grandparents went to Niagara Falls for their honeymoon, and I don't know if they went to the Canadian side, but I've always seen a lot of pictures, and Canada just looks gorgeous to me, even when it's under miles and miles of snow. Sorry to the Canadians, but you guys seem to get a lot of snow up there. That doesn't stop it from being beautiful though, because I love to see the snow when it's just covered everything and it's nice and clean before it gets muddy and footprints. And I don't mind like snowmobile tracks. That's always kind of cool. Anyways, you go ahead and leave that down below. Now, for those of you that are new here, the scrappy word of the day started out as just a way to leave a comment so you have something to say, because sometimes people are like, if they're here time and time again, they're just like, oh, I love your projects, oh, everything's nice. They want something different to say. Some people like to be creative and use the scrappy word in a sentence. Some people just leave a comment and say Canada, and they never leave anything else, and that's perfectly fine too. I was giving away fabric postcards. I'd choose a video or two a month and give away fabric postcards, but people stopped responding and saying, yes, I'd like one, and giving me their mailing address, because when I go and I randomly choose comments and then I leave a comment under yours saying, hey, congratulations, I'd love to send you a scrappy postcard. Please email me your name and mailing address. Very seldom, probably only 1 out of 15 people respond. So now we're just using the scrappy word for something fun. As we're getting closer to Christmas and stuff, I'll probably just say, hey, this is what I have. I like to give away the scrappy postcards, the fabric postcards during live streams, and that usually works out a little bit better. I usually give away maybe 5 or 6 during a live stream, and 4 or 5 people will send me their mailing address. So that usually works out a little bit better. So maybe we'll do that this Friday. I haven't made a fabric postcard in a long time. I do have the idea for my Patreon one, and I have a backup idea, but I need to go to Joann's and do a little fabric shopping first. I also need to do a little fabric shopping for our Patreon block of the month for next year, because one of them will be Christmas themed. So now's the best time to go ahead and grab some Christmas fabric, because based on the pattern I'm doing, it says for a lap quilt I need 30 fat quarters or 30 quarter yards. I'll probably end up getting the quarter yards because that will save me a lot of money, and I will be able to get a good variety that way. For those of you that know, my daughter has been traveling for work. She works at Mission Barbecue, and that's why we're going out to Arizona and moving there. They're opening up several new Mission Barbecues out there. But she's been traveling in the meantime to other stores that might need some help. So she's been in Pennsylvania. She is home this week. So for anyone that might have been waiting for an Arizona update, right now I have nothing for you. I'm sorry. We're still saying somewhere between now and March. At least we do have the March deadline now, so we'll find out more. Ask me again during the live stream and I might have some new information for you. So thank you guys so much for hanging out for me. If you're interested in this tote bag, you can go ahead and claim it now before it gets into the shop. Otherwise, watch the community tab and I'll let you know when the scrap bundles are listed, when the tote bag is listed, and the pumpkin sample for the, what are they called? Not, well, you could make a mug rug coasters. That's what they're called. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'll see you Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern for the live stream. Bye.